So right on a sunny Sunday morning in October, we're getting into very much into autumn now. Look at the leaves. We're in fall. It's fall, and I'm out today with Mr. Noodle King here on his BMW GS, his 14-plate GS, looking pretty cool with his leathers on, knee sliders. I don't know how much we're expecting some knee action, but we'll see. And his hoodie. I'm looking like Mr. Sober. I'm looking like his granddad on the Africa Twin behind, with my Triumph Explorer gear on. I've got Triumph gear on. I don't care, mate. I'm not bothered. And today we're just heading out for a lovely blast, us two. And at some point soon, as the video or the title of the video might suggest, I'm gonna have a go on that. So I'm going to we're going to compare. I'm going to ride back to back these two bikes. Of course, I've had my Africa Twin for a good 2.5 years. Yeah, 2.5 years now I've had this bike. Incredible. And of course I know this bike very well. Love this bike, obviously. So we're going to ride these back to back, and more than that, I'm not, I don't know if there'll be a verdict here. Maybe there will be a verdict at the end of it, but it's going to be more about kind of impressions of both the bikes. That bike, then a 14-plate GS. The Noodle King paid 10 grand for that. A 16-plate, 17-plate Africa Twin, and he paid 10 grand for that, pretty recent. Obviously they are more expensive new, but the kit and what that bike's got is as standard is a lot more bells and whistles than the Africa Twin. A 17-plate Africa Twin will set you back, I don't know, 8 grand. The prices are coming down. New prices are not so expensive. So we're having some fun in the Benz. And next time you see me, let's see if I can keep up with this Beamer. He's not gassing it. But next time you see me, I'll hopefully have something Bavarian between my legs. And I'm not talking about my friend Klaus. I'll see you soon. Peace. Alright, so Crumble on a GS. I never said I'd do it, and first impressions of the bike. I hate it. I fucking hate it. What an absolute piece of shit this is. Why do people buy these bikes? I just don't. I mean, I'm lying. I like it. I like it already. This feels composed, steady, sturdy, meaty. I feel like I've got more. I can sense already that I've got more BHP. This is 125 compared to that 95 up there. The ride-by-wire throttle, fly-by-wire, lovely and soft and easy. The suspension, that's just soaking everything up. There's a little bit of bounce. The Africa Twin is set up pretty soft as standard. I firmed it up, but it's it's fine. It's fine. But I can tell with this, I've got a plusher ride. It feels more plush. But don't forget that this bike is what, a couple of grand more maybe. Standard editions maybe grand, 2 grand. So you are paying for things like, this has got electronic dynamic suspension. I mean, that is a pretty incredible piece of tech that the Africa Twin hasn't got. We're just in some country lanes at the moment, and I think we're going to find the sort of benefit of this bike, really, in that these roads are pretty knackered, they're pretty bumpy, but this bike is very much soaking them up. We're in road mode, and I've got the ESA, the dynamic suspension, in normal. Let's just have a play with it. I wonder if we can. So it's in normal. That's hard. Can I sense that much difference? Yes, I can. Yeah, that feels firmer, it feels sportier. Let's just have a play. Hard, soft. That's how I like it. Yeah, that feels nice. That's more sort of closer to the AT, I reckon. Oh yeah, that's nice. Oh, that is lovely. You can see, every time I've ridden one of these bikes, I just think, I totally understand why they sell so many. Let's have a look at the AT. It looks so good. It looks so cool, doesn't it? Yeah, I like it. So here are the two together. And in terms of cockpit, oh, listen to that. The Twin's got the Remus can on it. I think this with a nice can on it would sound great. Just give it more of that sort of hooligan feel. It feels quite, I don't know, I feel very grown up on this bike. I feel very grown up on that, but it's got a little bit of a hooligan thing, you know, when you chuck the can on it and you just give it a bit, you know that you're annoying people, which I quite like. This thing at the moment, I feel like people will be very happy with me, and I wouldn't get noticed very much. The idea of touring on this bike really does appeal. 2 up on this bike, luggage on this bike, I'm sure it would take it all. That, with 95 brake horse, I think it's perfect for me. I don't need any more really. I'd like a bit more just for a kind of bit more, you know, urgency, a little bit more kind of excitement. But I wouldn't fancy that 2 up. I wouldn't fancy it. See what the brakes are like. Yeah, they're very good. You don't get the same sort of dive, but I don't imagine it's got the same sort of fork travel. Turns in very nice, very linear. It belies that weight, whatever the dry weight. You know me with these reviews. I don't go into it with a whole stack of technical information and specifications. I'm more about how the bike feels as a riding experience and how I feel riding it. And I could see myself owning one of these bikes. You know, this is a very nice experience. This is a very nice place to be. I love the fact that I've got plenty of tech. The dash is a cracking looking dash. I've got adjustable screen here, which I can do on the fly. That's very cool. Looking good, mate. And it's a beautiful day in October, a beautiful day to be doing this. Let's just see what that gives me. So that's all the way up. What am I getting? Oh, that is so good. You can probably hear how quiet that is compared to the bikes I've tested recently. That is very good. Oh, we were nearly having pheasant for our tea tonight then. Again, would I buy one? No. Why not? It's not about image, it's not just about image, but that's part of it. These are so popular, I tend to feel like you're a bit invisible on these bikes, and I quite like image. I quite like that feeling that people are looking at me. I do feel like I'm just one of many. I know the Africa Twins sold loads, I know that, but there's something about that tricolour that just makes me feel like I stand out, and I like to stand out. But I think the main reason is that this is a better road bike. You know, let's just put that, you know, straight out there, and I think even AT owners are not going to kind of challenge that. This is a better road bike. That is more compromised on road, let's suggest, but I think that's a better all-rounder. Yes, I know GS owners that you could take this off-road. I'm sure you'd be very happy taking it off-road. I've seen so many people do some amazing things, you know, on this bike off-road. But that, for me, it's just a sort of more natural off-road. And of course, you know, it's got longer travel than the forks, it's got better ground clearance, and of course it's got a 21-inch front wheel in it. There's a spoke. This is not the adventure bike version. This is more the road-going version. So we're not comparing like with like, are we? But that, for me, feels like an all-rounder. I just feel like that is the bike that I can get to a trail very happy with. It feels so natural stood up. I think this would take a little bit more to make me feel like that. It's very much more set up for the road, but definitely a better road bike. Let's have a play. Oh, that is lovely. Alright, we're just going to try these two then. A little bit of light off-road. Gav's going to take the AT, I'm going to take the Beamer, and we're going to try a little bit of trial. I just want to try this bike stood up. On that bike, it's very natural, I think, stood up. I just want to see what this one's like. Let's take this screen down. Can we do that? Yes, we can. Lovely screen, that, eh? Look at that. Proper bike. Right, let's see what standing up on a BMW GS is like. Let's see how comfortable and natural it feels. We're in enduro mode. You can see Gav looks very natural. Oh yeah. Now, I feel like I'm crouching quite a lot on this bike. I don't feel very natural on it. The other thing I'm a little bit concerned about is these pegs, because we've still got the rubber inserts on the pegs, but actually no, that's not too bad. The suspension is so good on this bike. So good, it's handling everything so well. It feels very nice. I feel like very much sort of nice. Like I'm sort of crouching down on a long way on this bike. I think I'd raise these bars up, put some risers on it. You can see probably by my shadow the way that I'm sort of standing here, but it feels pretty natural, to be honest. It's not bad at all. The great thing about the bike is the way that it's coping with the terrain. The suspension is doing such a good job of soaking up these things that I feel very composed. The engine as well in enduro mode is just taking some of the BHP off and making it not feel too, you know, let's not forget this is a cracking road bike. If it can do this to a decent degree, then we are talking about an all-rounder. The AT looks very natural and Gav looks very natural stood up. You can see how straight his legs are, or just a nice little bend in his knees. You can see me, you can probably see my shadow there. I am 6'4", but I am just crouching over this. But again, if we were to get these pegs sorted, raise these bars up, I'd feel pretty good on this bike. It feels alright to me. I'm quietly impressed with that. I didn't think it'd be as good stood up on this bike, but no, that feels alright. It's not that natural, but do a few things to it and I think this bike would feel pretty good. Nice autumnal setting here with all the leaves moving around under the bikes. But the AT looks very much at home, on these trails, and that's one of the things I love about it. Quite uncomfortable, my shoulder's going a bit here. I'm just going to sit back down, but 6-7 out of 10 for the Beamer off-road. But again, difficult to judge because, you know, it just needs a couple of bits, I think. It needs a couple of bits. So, another thumbs up. For many people who buy this bike, they won't be taking it off-road, and if they did, they might buy the adventure version. And I got a big hello from a fellow BMW owner, so I'm obviously part of some sort of club now with my Triumph outfit on my BMW. Let's have a go in, let's try a different mode. Right, so we've been in road, I'm trying dyno. I'm going to try it in dyno and in hard. So we're in third gear, I've got it in dyno. Oh, man alive, fucking hell. Now there's an overtake that you probably don't like. It wasn't the greatest, but I would never do that on the Africa Twin. Because I wouldn't have the ponies for it. But I've very much got them on this bike. And in dynamic mode, that throttle response, I'm sorry for the wind blast, you're getting a bit of noise here, but that is special. It's just the way that it delivers its power in this mode. Oh, that's gorgeous. A bit vibey when I drop it off. I can feel it kind of, you know, I suppose it's getting used to these boxer engines and the way they work. I'm a little bit careful here through these bends, but I know that I could chuck, if this was mine, if we had some tyres that I felt, it's got Anarchy Wilds on it at the moment, don't know how I feel about them. If I had some pilot roads on this, some proper nice touring rubber, I'd have a lot of fun on this bike. And this is the sort of bike, I know I'm talking a lot here, but this is the sort of bike that I would very much feel like, yeah, let's get on it and go to Scotland. Let's get on it and go to Wales. This is a lovely combination of the two bikes that I've got. the Africa Twin and the comfort and the upright riding experience, but the lovely smooth drive of the Blackbird. It combines those two things really nicely, I think. So it's definitely a thumbs up from me, GS owners, and I don't want to get on the wrong side of the GS crew. I love your bike, I do love it. Will I buy one? Do you know what? I just might. Whoa. Yes, yes, yeah, I kind of want one. Shit, I didn't want to ride it and want it. I didn't want that to happen. Fuck. Am I getting old? Is that it? I don't know. So final thoughts on this bike. I've spent about, I don't know, maybe about 45 minutes on it. I tried it a little bit off-road, but couldn't really say much about that, to be honest, because just we weren't really equipped for that kind of thing. I really like this bike. I can see why people buy them. I think if I didn't have that desire to want to do the trail riding and the off-road riding, I'd get this bike, because it satisfies my need really for speed and comfort. I like that you know, those two things high up on my priorities, a bit like that thing. And you know, year round this bike would sort you out, wouldn't it? You know, you could commute on this, you could tour on this, you can do some slight off-roading on it, I think, and I love that about it. It's sporty enough to be able to have a great time on the roads. It handles great, and if you're moving from a sports bike to an adventure bike, this would be the bike that you wouldn't feel you were missing too much the power of your sports bike, whereas with the AT I think you certainly would. So all in all, this is a massive thumbs up from me. Having recently tried the Adventure Sport, the Honda, the bigger Africa Twin, it's not a patch on this bike, I don't think. That bike needs some of this. It needs a couple more of these bits. It needs that 125 brake horsepower. So for me, I think this is the better bike. This is the better road bike. The AT's got it off-road and is more of an all-rounder. We'll just have a final look around the bikes. I'll say bye to you. We'll just get off and have a final look and have a final comparison to the AT. There she is. Rugged. Let's call the looks rugged, and I think we could call the AT a pretty bike, can we? Yeah. So thanks for watching, people. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.